And welcome back to Freedom Unleashed. We are so happy to be here with you for day two. Hopefully, you got a chance to join us for day one live or watch the replay. But if not, don't worry, that replay is going to be up until next Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. So you've got a full 7 days to go back and watch the replay as many times as you like. Make sure that you watch it all the way to the end and do the homework assignment. That is one thing that we are huge believers in, is that this work only works if you do the work. And Raj always says, knowledge is not power, implementation is power. So I want you to really take that to heart and do the work. Don't just show up here and waste your time. Make sure that you're implementing what you're learning so that you can really change your life and get the results that you want to get. All right, welcome to day two. This replay will be available a few minutes after we end today. It will also be up until next Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. But right now, what I want you to do is set aside all distractions, close out all your other tabs, put your phone on silent, maybe turn it over, get out a pen and a piece of paper, and get ready to invest the next 90 minutes in yourself. It is going to be lights out. And I can't wait to hear what Raj is going to get into today. But first, I'd like to bring him on with me. So, Raj, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm great. How are you, Mikey?
I'm doing great. I loved day one, and I'd like to just break it down a little bit as a little bit of a recap because you went over a lot of information. So for those that watched it, this will be a brief recap. And for those that didn't get a chance to watch day one and are joining us for day two, it catches them up a little bit before we jump into today's content. So yesterday you started with vision. Why did you start with vision? Why is that so important when we're talking about freedom?
Well, you have to know exactly where you're going. I always use the example. Like in the morning, I go to the gym. I don't go to the gym and not knowing what direction I'm going. When people are not committed to their vision and they're not giving life to it, they're going through their day aimlessly. The vision is the starting point. Yesterday I was talking a lot about vision first, knowing the direction we're going. And we want to create this amazing vision because we want to fall in love with our future, but we fall in love with it in the present. You're creating it in the present. A lot of people make an error where they're thinking they're going to the vision. No, the vision is done once you write it. Now you live from that space. And I want everybody to think about it. Is 6 months out there, or is it right now you're experiencing it? I want you to experience it right now. And when you do that, now you're fused with what you want and how you want to live. And that's going to take you from where you are to where you want to go. If it's out there, you're always planning to plan. You're completely disconnected from it. And that creates delusion. And what it really creates is a lot of frustration for people because they say, well, I'm doing this, but are you doing it? See, you have to understand how this works. Every time something really good has happened to you, it's because you are working in harmony with the law. You have this inner knowingness. I know that I know that I know. And every time it wasn't working for you, you've been working against the law. So you want to really create that understanding.
I know that today you're going to be getting into goals. And so I think a lot of people are going to have the question, well, how is goals different from vision?
Well, vision is all areas of your life. Goals is the number one most important thing you're focusing on. See, a lot of people are creating a lot of double binding messages to themselves. And that's why you've got to focus on one objective that you're going to go after with your whole heart. That will keep you from being distracted, and it will develop you, because goals, which I'll get into today, are for who we become. I said yesterday at the end, I said, I believe financial freedom is one of the worthiest goals anybody can have because of what it makes of you, of who you have to become, how you have to discipline yourself, the type of attitudes you develop, the type of courage it takes, the type of service you will have to make a part of you to achieve that goal. So they're very, goals are part of your vision, but your vision is the scope of all areas of your life.
Mm-hmm. Raj, you also talked about standard yesterday, which is so important. It's at the heart of, I would say, almost everything that you teach. And you say, standard is our DNA to success. Standard never loses, right? Standard always wins. Well, everyone's operating with a standard, whether they realize it or not. Why is it so important to deliberately and consciously set that standard?
Because standard is our commitment. It's our code of ethics. We, like you said, you're always operating with it. It always wins. It never doesn't win. You know, I will tell you, I've shared this story in the past, but it's worth sharing again. You know, I was coming to visit Mikey in February. We had a business meeting, and it was none of the hotels that I like to stay at were available. And we were only there for a couple days. My wife said, you know, I'm like, we got to find another hotel. And I called Mikey. I'm like, what other hotels are around? And I stayed there one night, and I'm like, when I woke up the next morning, I said, there's no way I can stay here. And so I called my brother and I said, can you find me a hotel in Dallas? And he found me one. I'd never heard of it. I'd never been to it. It was called, I think, Rosewood.
Yeah.
Rosewood, right? Yeah.
Rosewood or Rose Crescent. I can't remember which one you stayed at.
Anyway, we're driving there, and the driver says, oh, you know, this is a hotel. Jerry Jones always stays there. He's the owner of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm a big Dallas Cowboys fan. So I didn't give it much credence. Anyway, we go check in. It's a beautiful hotel. The other hotel had cigarette butts everywhere. I mean, it was just dirty. And I'm not going to name the hotel, but I will tell you, I don't recommend you stay there. But so we go there, and we were a little tired from the meeting. I said, why don't we just go down to the bar and we'll get an appetizer. So we walked down to the bar, and lo and behold, Jerry Jones is sitting 3 feet, not even 5 feet, 3 feet away from us. And I tell my wife this, and she goes, I got to get him to come talk to you, because she knows I'm a huge Cowboys fan. And I'll give you the real purpose of this story, though. The real purpose of this story, we end up meeting him, and I start picking his brain. This is a multi-billionaire. But I get back after I meet him, and I said to my wife, and I told Mikey this, I called her, and I said, this is why standard always wins. You never know where life will take you once you hold firm to your philosophy of how you want to live. And every day, people, I watch it all the time when I first start working closely in mentoring people. The first thing I do is I can identify where they settle. That tells me where their standard is. Well, they're not just settling for themselves. They're putting out that vibration into the universe, and you get exactly what your commitment is. And for most people, it's an unconscious commitment. But I'll give you even a bigger idea. It's not the economy that's going to determine what your next 1, 3, or 5 years are. It's going to be the development of you and your standard. I will tell you that no matter what. You know, my mentor was a dear friend of mine, Bob Proctor. And I remember one day he goes, well, we met at an event we were doing that he was doing. And him and I worked together. And he said, well, what room did you get? I said, oh, I got a regular room. And he said, oh, never do that again. And I said, well, it's just me. He said, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. What your energy is what you're communicating to your subconscious mind of what you feel you deserve. And he goes, I know it's crazy. It's only you. And I'm telling you to get a suite from now on. From that moment on, I got a suite everywhere I went. And I know you may be thinking like I was thinking, like, why? There's no purpose. You're throwing away money. No, I wasn't throwing it away. I was building a wealth consciousness. But what I was doing, I was raising my standard, and I've never not done that since. And I will tell you, standards are connected to your wants. We're either coming from wants or needs. Wants create abundance. Wants create our standard. Need creates lack and limitation. So every time you're letting the price dictate something you really want, you're coming from need. So that vibration is what you're going to attract in your life. Now, if you don't have the money, there was a lot of times in my life when I was struggling and I didn't have the money. But once I learned this, I knew I could find the money. My mind could take me where I wanted to be. My job was to make a definite decision. And that's why I always say standard always wins, always wins.
Raj, I love this story. I want to dig in just on one part of it. First, I have to say that hotel you were staying at was not my recommendation, so I'd like to clear my name. The hotel that you usually stay at here was fully booked, and that is how you ended up there. But for most people, it was an average or above average hotel you were staying at. It wasn't like some motel where the doors are outside and you might get kicked in. Like it wasn't some like, horrible motel. It was just like a normal hotel. And a lot like it would have been so easy for you to be like, oh, I'm only here for one more night. Oh, like it's right near where we're meeting at. It's more convenient. Like you could have made a lot of excuses to just stay there, but you held your standard. And I think that that's an important point to make because it wasn't the most convenient thing for you to hold your standard, but it won out because you did or you were willing to.
Well, I am such a firm believer in it because I know what elevating your standard and building it and committing to it does to one's life. So for me, it's an easy decision. It would have been harder for me to stay there than it was to go find somewhere else, because I know what it impacted my energy so much. And whatever our energy is where our attention goes. You put yourself in a room of really vibrant, positive people, and you feel better, right? You put yourself in a room with negative people, you just want to go out the other way. That's what standard is. See, when I see people drop all the time and settle, it hurts my heart. It really hurts my heart. It probably hurts my heart a little more because that's how I used to live. So I'm aware of it. But you don't have to do it. You don't know what you're doing to your life when you're taking shortcuts. You study the most successful people, I don't care in what industry, all over the world, all over. And the one common denominator is they all have significant standards. They all have significant image of themselves. And none of them cuts corners to success. They're willing to do the work. They get the mentors. The people who don't are operating with not understanding why you get the people who are winning and you mimic what they do. And what happens is you become them. You become your environment. And that's how you build your standard. And that's what will change your life.
All right, Raj, one more thing I want to dig into, and then I'm going to let you share your screen and get into today's lesson. But I can't move on without touching on self-image because this is what changed my life more than anything else. And I think it has such a huge and almost immediate impact on people is building your self-image, changing your self-image, or transforming your self-image, that new word that we love so much. So what would you like to do to just recap briefly your lesson on self-image?
Well, your image is creating your results. So we got to understand your image is the foundation of your program. And you can never outperform your image. I want everyone right now to look at any result in their life that's directly what their image is. You will never, you may get somewhere short term, you may, like, let's say somebody wants to hit a 30-day money goal. They'll hit it, it'll drop right away. It'll drop back and they'll go back to where their image is set. They did it with willpower. Now, willpower is great because it gets you started, but you have to change the image. The image is the most important picture we have of ourselves. So coming into the new year, a lot of people are really excited, really inspired. I'm going to do this, this, and this. But until they change their image and think, feel, and act, they're not going to change anything. You know, I work with people all over the world, and I'll tell them, you know, tell me what your results are. And the reason I ask the question is it shows me where their image is. And if I know where their image is, I know so I can educate them on how to get from where they are to where they want to go. The real work is in the image. See, nothing happens without altering our image. Our image takes us wherever we want to go. So that's at the heart of it. Why do people not get out of their comfort zone? Self-image. Mm-hmm. You know, why do people procrastinate? Self-image. Why can one person earn X amount of money in the same industry and the other person is earning a lot less? Self-image. Yeah. So image, I said this yesterday when I was talking about standard, but it starts with our vision. Our vision creates our philosophy. Our philosophy is how we think automatically. Our philosophy creates our standard. That's our commitment. I'm not settling. This is what I expect of my life. Our standard creates our story. Our story creates our image. Our image creates our result. That's how it works. And everyone's doing it whether they know it or not. I want to teach you how to become a conscious competent. And that happens by knowing exactly what processes to implement for yourself so you can create the results. It's not going to just happen. Just because you write a goal on a piece of paper doesn't mean you're going to achieve the goal. Now you've got to understand the goal demands what processes you're going to create, and then you've got to put in the work to do it.
This is so good. I'm fired up, ready for today's lesson. Raj, I'm going to let you share your screen and get right into it.
All right. Thanks, Mikey. All right. Well, let's get back into it. So I told you yesterday, and I wanted to show it to you again. I really want you, and our whole company wants to teach you how to earn more money, to enjoy more freedom. There's nothing better than freedom when you live your life emotionally free on your terms and live the life you were destined to live. But you've got to own this. You've got to own it yourself. Now, I could want so much for you, but if you don't accept that this is possible, you're right, it won't be possible. I want you to accept that this year, from this point, is going to be your turning point, that you're going to earn more money than you've ever earned. That means you're going to grow so much more than you've ever grown. You're going to enjoy more freedom. You're not going to take shortcut exits out, and you're going to live the life that you really want to live. Make that a commitment and an ironclad commitment to yourself. Now, you can absolutely create your own economy, but I want you to create your own economy. But identify and imagine right now, if I created my own economy, what would that look like? Now, this isn't just a term. I've created my own economy. I used to be 150,000 in debt, starting over. And then within a year, I turned my annual income into my monthly income at that time. Well, how did I do it? I started working on me. Mikey was talking about image. That's the first thing I worked on. I didn't know anything about standard. I didn't understand anything else except I followed what my mentor told me to do, and I did exactly what he told me to do. But the first thing he said to me is, you can create your own economy, but you've got to make a decision. And I want you to make a decision right now that you're going to identify and define what you want your economy in 2024 to be. Do you want to turn your annual income into your weekly income? You can do it. Do you want to turn it into your monthly income? You could do it. But define it and don't walk away from what I'm saying right now. Like, really make it and write it in your notes that I'm going to define and demand what my economy is going to be in 2024. Now, I told you this yesterday. Success comes down to a few simple choices. We have to know exactly what we want, and I'm going to go into wants deeply today. What do you really want more than anything else in the world? That is what I want you to decide and accept that. Number two, determine the price you have to pay. What is that price that I have to pay? Because everything has a price. Our thinking has a price. If we're lazy thinking, we're going to see the effects of that in the future. Determine the price you have to pay, and then choose, am I willing to pay the price? Am I going to BS myself and say I'm all in, but my actions say no? Or am I going to say, no, I'm going to get locked in for the next 6 months, and I'm going to show myself what I'm capable of. Are you willing to pay the price? Now, success is very simple. It comes down to a few disciplines you practice every day. And failures comes down to a few errors you practice every day. So which one are you going to practice? From your future self or from your past self? That's what the difference is. Now, we have to get serious and we have to make that decision, and we have to lock in and say, this is what I'm doing no matter what. No matter what. See, when you look at it, You can have anything once you mix a decision with discipline. And when you mix a decision and say, no, this is what I'm doing, every time it starts fading away, you say, no, I don't care how it's going to happen, but this is what I'm doing. That's why decision mixed with discipline is so powerful. Now, true greatness is not very hard to create. You'll see beginners become masters in a very short period of time, within a couple years, because they become great with the little things. They become great at doing, instead of focusing on 1,000 things, they understand less is more, where they focus on a few things 1,000 times. And that's where greatness comes from. Now, what do you want? What do you really want? Do you want to live a life of freedom? Do you want to unleash your greatness from inside to outside? Or do you want to keep making excuses? Do you want to keep playing your old narrative that does not serve you? Or do you want to step out of your comfort zone and say, I'm going to create a world-class life. I'm going to create my life on my terms. Now, I told you this yesterday. You can have either. Anybody can have it, but you have to have the courage. You have to bet on yourself. You have to surround yourself in the right environment. You have to hire the right mentors, and you have to build discipline in your life. You have to have discipline. Now, it is critical to be honest with yourself. You have to be explicitly honest with yourself. Like Zig Ziglar used to say, the first key principle of success was self-honesty. And we have to be honest with yourself. When you're not honest with yourself, you destroy your image. You absolutely destroy your image. And you destroy your possibilities for growth. Be honest with yourself. It's not good or bad. It just is. If I fall, okay, I fell. Why did I fall? I want to get to the cause of it. Once you get to the cause, you're going to change the effect. Now, there's two types of players in this game we call life. There's active players and there's watchers. And I want you to really ask yourself, am I a player or am I a watcher? Players, they practice until they're the best at what they do. Players, they reap the rewards of their efforts. They're constantly understanding delayed gratification. They're not focused, they're results driven, but they know the process is what is going to be the key. They use their power to make things happen. When there's not a way, they make the way. They will find out. They will get creative. They will open up and learn from people who've already done it. And they reach within the well of power they have to get their desired result. They are active. They are action-oriented. They are great learners, and they do not cut corners. Now, I want you to ask yourself, am I a player? Am I playing, or am I watching? And I'll show you the watcher in a moment. And players are always taking the risks and getting the rewards. Now, the watcher is always playing, watching other people create success. They're the spectators sitting in the stands, watching others play the game of life. The watchers, they watch somebody else get the money, get the life, get the recognition, and get the rewards. And they say, they're doing it. I wish I could do it. The watchers, they never try hard at anything. They say, I'm going to do something, and they renegotiate with themselves. They're constantly, their word doesn't mean anything. At the first sign of difficulty, challenge, or disappointment, they discard their dreams and blame others. And once they have a failure, they'll never try it again. They'll say, I took a risk once, I'll never do it again. Now, I want you to ask yourself, am I playing an active player in my life, or am I watching from the stands? They're never playing the game actively. Don't be a watcher, be a player in your life, because life is not going to reward you until you make that first step. It's the start that stops most people. That's a great quote from a Hall of Fame coach, Don Shula. And once you get started, you will get going. But I will tell you, if you're always waiting in the stands, saying, I'm going to do this when this happens, you're watching life pass by. Don't be a watcher, be a player in your life. And do not make excuses. Every time you're a watcher, you fail by default. You don't even give yourself a chance. Every time you're a player, you win by default because you fail, but you've developed persistence and understanding that there's a way. There's always a way. Once you make a decision, your mind jumps to that frequency and says, how can I do it? The player is always committed to excellence. They're always showing up. They're always doing the work, and they're doing what it takes to create the life they want. And I will tell you, the price is so minimal compared to the reward. And the player is always taking extreme ownership. We are absolutely responsible for all the results we are getting. You, me, anybody, our neighbors. When you take responsibility, now you're coming from self-honesty. You say, listen, this was my fault. I get better here. You don't blame yourself, but you're accountable to yourself. And you take the power back and you shift your self-esteem, self-image, and your standards significantly, and you will transform your life. This, you want to make part of your identity, that I take extreme ownership in everything I do. Now, I showed you this yesterday, but this is so important for you to understand. And I'm going to go over it one more time, because until you understand this, you're going to have your mind working against you. Your mind is so powerful, but I want it working for you. I want you to understand it. I literally want you to study this one slide 1,000 times. You have to practice where you can explain it to somebody else. We have 3 parts of our mind. We have our conscious mind, we have our subconscious mind, and our body. Our conscious mind is our thinking mind. It's our educated mind. It's where our intellect resides. Our subconscious mind is our emotional mind. That's the emotional side of us. It's impersonal. It only knows what we give it. Your conscious mind, you can choose. So if somebody is saying, oh, don't do this, don't take this risk, you're choosing to go with them. Or you can accept or reject. That's where that's where discipline is created, by accepting only what you want and rejecting what you don't want. But you do it right away. You have to practice accepting and rejecting ideas. Most people are letting other people's suggestions come right in, and they accept it right away. Because if you don't reject it, you accept it with your imagination. You've got to understand this. This is so important to practice, because if you are not accepting it, you are going to reject it, and vice versa. Most people are rejecting what they should accept and accepting what they should be rejecting. They're accepting playing small. They're accepting the economy. The economy has nothing to do with your results. Nothing. You are responsible for your results. You originate any idea. Build an amazing idea in your consciousness. Build an idea of freedom. What does it feel like if you were free? What does it feel like if you turned your annual income into your monthly income? What does that really feel like? Build that idea over and over in your mind. Remember, any picture firmly held in our mind in any form has to come forth. That's the law. That's the greatest universal law. Start practicing it. Your subconscious mind must accept. It cannot reject. So anything you give it, it is accepting. And the repetition of the same idea, your subconscious mind always expresses the dominant of 2 ideas. And it cannot determine the difference between what's real or what's imagined. Now, this is so important. I cannot emphasize this enough. Once you understand the laws of your mind and start working in harmony with it, you're going to take yourself from where you are to where you want to go. Now, we have a power, it's called thought energy, that's flowing in and through us within a second. And we're either accepting or rejecting whatever that idea is. We're either accepting abundance or we're accepting scarcity. We're either playing it safe or we're going after what we really want. You only have a couple seconds at the most where whatever the stimuli on the outside is, you're either accepting or rejecting. Only accept abundance. If this is not in harmony with abundance, you say, no, I do not accept it. And eventually, if you do this for 30 days, you're going to do it the rest of your life. And all your mind is going to see is abundance. See, all of us are watching our life through our own camera lens. That's called awareness. You're not seeing life as it is. You're seeing it as your program is. And your program is created 95% of all your results every day. It's like Groundhog's Day over and over again until you change your program. For every one of us, look how you started your day this morning compared to yesterday. I guarantee it was the exact same. So you got to change the program. Now, thoughts are real things. They travel faster than the speed of light. And Carnegie told Napoleon Hill that any idea held in the mind that is emphasized, that is feared or revered, will begin at once to clothe itself in the most convenient and appropriate physical form available. Now look at this. Suggestion is the most powerful force in the universe. Suggestion gets accepted or rejected right away. You have got to make this a part of you, that you only accept what you want and you reject what you don't want. Because what happens, if you accept negative thoughts, that is exactly what is going to go in your central nervous system, into your subconscious mind, and that's what's going to show up in your results. And we have, on average, 80,000 thoughts a day. Let me ask you guys a question. If you were to observe yourself neutrally, with honesty, if you were to guess out of the 80,000 thoughts, how many of those 80,000 are focused on what you want? I want you to be very honest with yourself right now. Now, whatever that is, now look at your results to date. Look at your results. Your results never lie. They always tell the truth. Your results will tell you if you were honest with yourself. Get honest with yourself right away, and you will create the results you want. Now, your mind is a garden, and it is going to give you exactly what you plant in that garden. What are you planting? Plant only what you want. Plant your vision in that garden. Give it life. Plant your goals in that garden. Plant your wants in that garden. Plant your standards in that garden. Plant the beautiful image of yourself of how you want to be in that garden. But do not plant crap in your garden, or else you're going to get crap back. I promise you. I promise you this happens. Nothing happens by accident. Everything happens by exact law. Now, how are you seeing the world? Are you seeing the world from your old experiences? Is your past really your dominant place you go for every decision you make? Are you seeing the world from your current experiences? Or where I want you to see the world is from your desire of your goal achieved, from your future self. You're letting your future drive your goals. You're letting your future drive your processes, but you're doing it in the present moment. See, what we cannot do is put our thoughts on what is missing. This is why people struggle. They struggle because they're always looking at what's not working. What is missing? Their present results, their past, or whatever somebody else wants for you. You've got to put your thoughts on what do I want? You've got to put it, what would I think like if I already achieved my goal? What does a person who achieved my goal, what are their actions? Who is their environment? That's what you want to put your thoughts on. Now, this is where we've got to really understand. What do you really want more than anything else in the world? What is wants? Wants create abundance. Wants create our standard. Wants define our goals. Wants are the starting point of everything in your life. Wants are absolutely essential to take you from where you are to where you want to go. Wants are about creating things that didn't exist at first. It didn't exist in your mind. And committing to your want is the most important thing you can do if you want to create freedom. It is the most important thing you can do. What do you really want more than anything else? And make it one. I want one thing you want more than anything else. Now, look at this. Our wants start in our subconscious mind. This is the part that creates 96 to 98% of our results. And our wants will give us a signal, hey, this is a great idea for you. This is what you've been asking for in your imagination. You'll say, oh, this idea is way out of the blue. Where did this come from? If it is in harmony with you, your spirit, you say you accept it. That's our job, is to accept it. It's not our job to say, how are we going to do it? Our job is to accept our wants. Our wants come from the essence of who we are. Now, once you accept it, our job is now to nourish it through repetition and turn the want into a desire. Once the want is a desire, it's a done deal. This is called the creation process. And once you turn the want into a desire, everything in your favor from the whole universe is going to conspire on your behalf to make it a reality. Now, what most people do is they'll hold their want for a day, for an hour. No, that's not for me. That seems like it's going to, I don't know how that's going to happen. I'm daydreaming. No, you're not daydreaming. It's coming from your spirit. Your wants come from the essence of who you are. And once you have it into a desire, the desire is what fuels you. The desire is what causes you to act. The desire is what alters your vibration. And the desire is what gets the whole universe to conspire on your behalf to change all the conditions, circumstances, and environment and get you your results. So when I say, what do you want? Right now, let's say somebody says, I want to live a life of freedom, and they define it. I want to earn $1 million or more every year. You know, what they want to do now is they auto-suggest this. Auto-suggestion is they've accepted the idea, but it's a suggestion from themselves to themselves. And they say over and over again, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $1 million or more every year, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. And they do it over and over and over and over again. The repetition is going to get this gatekeeper out of the way. And once the gatekeeper is out of the way, your conscious mind is working with your subconscious effortlessly. It alters your vibration, and we can only attract what we're in harmony with. Well, if my dominant idea is on $1 million, that's what eventually I will grow into. If my dominant idea is, I can't do this, that's right, I won't do it. But this is the creation process, and this is why wants are so important. The want is the compounding effect of creating the life you desire. That's what want is, and it's going to create your results. Committing to your want is the most important thing to do at the very beginning. Now, we're at the start of the year. I mean, it's essential to do. Commit to your want. What do you really want? Then ask yourself really good questions. What experiences would I like to have? That's how you'll identify your want. What changes would I like to make? If I was going to achieve my want, my next want, I can't operate. We talked about this yesterday. We can't operate like we did in 2023 if we're going to create better results in 2024. We have to change. We have to change. You have to understand that. What changes would you like to make? And then why are your goals important to you? Before we get into goals, you have to know why you want it. When the why is big enough, the how will show itself. If the why is weak, it's going to dissipate. Now, we talked about wants. You want to mix your want with discipline. When every time you're aspiring for something greater, I told you this yesterday, your program is going to try to bring you back. But when you mix want with discipline, when your want starts fading away, you say, no, this is what I'm doing no matter what. There's going to be people in your environment say, why are you going after that? Don't worry about it. You run your race, I'll run mine. When you mix it with discipline, you won't worry about what anybody thinks. It's all about your goal is so important to you. And it will never drift away. Every time the how comes, you'll say, I am willing. That's the only thing I have to focus on. See, what kind of person do I need to become to achieve all I want? I have to be disciplined. I have to get in the right environment. I have to have the right mentors. I have to constantly be responsible for my thinking, my feelings, and my actions. I have to develop an amazing attitude. These are the kinds of, that's what you have to become if you want freedom. I have to serve at the highest level. I put all my attention on how I can leave everyone better off than I found them. And when you know your want, now you make your future your magnificent obsession with that want. It is an obsession. That's all you think about. You spend all day building that idea in your conscious mind because we get to originate the idea like we talked about. Make your future a magnificent obsession. Now, where you are right now to where you want to go, there's an opportunity gap right here. You need to know what the gap is. Well, all you have to do is define where you are and where you want to go. That gap is your comfort zone. You got to get out of your comfort zone. You've got to decide, like we discussed yesterday, define the person you have to become. Define the person you get to become. And then you start working on it right away. And all day long, you think, feel, and act from that person. And then you're going to get from where you are to where you want to go. Now, your paradigm is dominating your results. It's your belief system. A paradigm is what's running it's a program that's running you. And it's a multitude of habits stored in a section of your subconscious mind. And this program has exclusive control over your habitual behavior, has exclusive control. I told you this earlier. It is running your day today. 95% of your day is already done, unless you replace the program. All of our behaviors are habitual. Our job is to create the new paradigm. How do we create the new paradigm? I'm going to show you how. But you've got to understand there's only two ways to change the paradigm. One is through spaced repetition and elite level coaching. The second way is an emotional impact. An emotional impact, 9 out of 10 times, is something negative that happened. A loss of a loved one, a loss of a job, something that really hits you in your heart. It's a jolt to your system. So you want to do it through spaced repetition of using your imagination and auto-suggesting and getting into action of thinking, feeling, and acting like the person you want to be. Now, paradigms can blind our views and limit our perspective. Most people are walking through their life with blindfolds on. They keep getting the same results over and over again and say, I don't know why life is so hard. In the beginning, it's hard work and discipline that's going to alter the paradigm. But then it's going to be effortless. Now, I want you to see this. This is where you are, and this is your goal. This is where your real want is. Now, there's a pathway to get from where you are to where you want to go, but there is a big wall in front of you, and that's the paradigm. Well, you say, I really want to turn my income into $1 million a year, but you never made a definite decision. You said, I'll do it. You know, it's convenient. I'm 90% in. Nope. If you're not 100% in, you're 100% out. If you're 99% in, you're 100% out. You've got to be all in. And that's that emotional connection. How do we knock down the walls of the paradigm? You make a definite decision. You say, this is what I'm doing no matter what. When you make that decision, the walls knock down. Now you have a clear pathway to get from where you are to where you want to go. And once you have that clear pathway, you think, feel, and act like that person. Your mindset must be stronger than your emotions. What I mean by that is our mindset is creating 95% of our results. Great mindset, that's a great thing. Weak mindset, that's not a great thing. But most people are being driven by the outside. They're letting the outside dictate their mindset. Oh, I better play it safe. I don't see anything. And they keep digging out their spiritual seeds. That's what a goal is. It's a spiritual idea. It's a spiritual seed out of the ground because they don't see it working. Stop letting the outside disturb you. Stop letting the outside control you. Get to the cause. The cause is you. Look at your emotions like cars on a freeway. If you don't like it, let it go by. You want to understand and discipline your thinking through originating the idea of what you want, through choosing the right thoughts, and through accepting and rejecting. Now, freedom comes from not reacting to your environment. Do not let other people disturb you. Do not let the outside control you. Understand this is your race. This is for you. Go create the life that you really want. What would it feel like if you lived a life of freedom, doing what you wanted, when you wanted, with whomever you wanted, and you lived life on your terms? It is a great way to live, but you could do it, but it's going to take work to change. It's going to take work to change the old conditioning. Develop a paradigm where you have this inner knowingness. See, when you're going after a goal, you accept it right away, but you have to know that inner knowingness is faith. This is where I'm going. I'm willing. I don't know how in the world it's going to happen. I just know this is what I'm doing. And when you develop that inner knowingness, that's where you're going to get to where you want to go. Now, this is how you change your paradigm. This is your mind. You have three parts of your mind. You have your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your body. Now, look at this. This is what the paradigm loves to come in and talk to. We have our senses that are connected to our conscious mind. They are so sensitive, and most people are living out of their senses. I don't want you to live out of your senses. I want you to use your senses to enjoy life, to go watch a great movie, to go listen to a great show, to go and watch a great ball game, to eat great food. That's what we want our senses. We are not meant to make decisions from our senses. Our senses is here for us to enjoy our environment. But we have not been trained that way at a young age. And what we have to do is understand we have these higher faculties. These are our superpowers. But most people are not living using them because they don't practice them, because they're not aware of them. If you go to somebody in your close environment and say, hey, can you name me the higher faculties? I guarantee they wouldn't be able to do it. See, you've got to understand memory, perception, your will, your imagination, your intuition, and your reasoning are your superpowers. And they are stored in your conscious mind. That's where your intellect resides. But what we have to do is start practicing them. Most people are using their senses and not their higher faculties. What is it in your memory? Start looking at everything and bulletproof it. What are those success memories that you've had? That's how you can use your memory. Your will. Your will is your ability to hold one idea on the screen of your mind without being distracted. That's where focus comes in. Your reasoning. It's your ability to think. Think what you want regardless of the appearances. Your intuition. It's your sixth sense where you know that you know this is what I got to trust. Your perception. It's you bulletproofing everything to see the world as you want it to be. You see what you want all day long. And your imagination, like Einstein says, our imagination is the most magical tool that we have. Logic takes us from point A to point B. Imagination takes us everywhere. And we're using our imagination. But these higher faculties are what is going to alter your program and change your paradigm. This is what is creating our higher faculties. Go back and look at your results. Our higher faculties is what has created those results, whether we're using them for us or against us. And once you practice them, you're going to create a new program. You want to start practicing and learning how to practice them by picking one and developing it 30 days at a time. And do this every year. Keep making it stronger and stronger. And watch how magical your outside reality will become. Now, let's look at this. This is a black and white deal. It does not matter how hard you work or how many hours you put in. If the program does not change, ultimately the results will remain the same from one year to the next, period. It does not matter if you're a good person or not. Everything happens by law, what you're putting out. You put more good out, you're going to get good back. So you want to understand when programs stay in control, nothing changes. But when you alter the program and you replace it, everything changes and your whole life will change. But remind yourself, the results will always tell you the truth. They will tell you if you're settling. They will tell you if you're out of your comfort zone. They will tell you what you need to alter. I love looking at results because I look at them of how I can get better. I look at them as a reward to what I've done well and say, well, what else could I do? I use the results as leverage. The results always tell the truth, not sometimes, all the time. Now, I want you to think about this. Have you had a goal, a money goal, that you never got to, that you just never got to? Yesterday, I used an example of this, if you picked it up. There's a power flowing in and through us, and you have a money goal. You say, I really want to create a life of freedom. I really want to earn 100,000 or more every month, not just a year. And you say, I've been auto-suggesting, I've been building it in my imagination. Well, why isn't it happening? Well, are you sending out a double binding message? This is the number one culprit to keeping people stuck, where they want more, but all they focus is on lack and limitation. Is that you? Do you say you want wealth, but everything you do, you don't invest in yourself? You don't invest in creating a great environment for yourself. You're focused on lack and limitation. Well, if you are, you're creating a poverty consciousness, no matter if you have a money goal or not. And if you're creating a poverty consciousness, what you're operating from is worry, doubt, and fear. And worry, doubt, and fear is what is in the dominant of the two ideas in your subconscious mind. And then it goes in your central nervous system that alters your vibration, and it keeps you attracting everything in harmony with worry, doubt, and fear. So you got to ask yourself, I thought I had a want to earn $1 million or more. Well, I've got to think, feel, and act from that person. So I've got to change this image. I've got to get rid of this poverty consciousness and say, I'm going to hold the picture in my mind firmly of what I would experience if I earned $1 million. And all my thoughts, all my feelings, and all my actions are congruent with this. And what's going to happen is you're going to create that $1 million or more. And you're going to do it with every goal you set. But we cannot create what we want coming from lack and limitation. We cannot create wealth coming from a poverty consciousness. A wealth consciousness never thinks in lack and limitation. Well, you might say, you know, that's a big statement. Well, it's as big as you want to make it to be. It's a true statement. So you have to get really good at accepting only ideas that are in harmony of wealth consciousness, and rejecting any idea that lack and limitation come. An idea might come that says, who are you kidding? Let's set a goal for 200,000 a year, not $1 million. Say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm coming from a wealth consciousness. It takes just as much effort. You've got to catch yourself and get rid of the double binding messages. And then your results are going to change. Now, understand, if you're sending a double binding message, you're thinking in reverse. Ask yourself, am I thinking in reverse? Don't let your emotions distract you from doing what you need to be done. Control your emotions. It's called emotional discipline. Control your emotions so your emotions do not control you. Every time your emotions control you, your mind is disciplining you. Our responsibility is to think what we want to think regardless of what's happening on the outside. Be in control. And how do we do that? Everything comes from a definite objective, a definite goal that we want more than anything else in the world. What do you really want more than anything else in the world? Your goal is defining what processes you do. Your goals dominate all your waking hours. That's what a goal does. Now, I'm going to show you this. The 80-20 principle states that if we doubled our time on the top 20% of our activities, we could work a 2-day work week and achieve 60% more. You know, this book has been around for so many years, the 80-20 rule. But if you want to create a world-class life, if you want to create a massive jump, you're going to have to let go of 80% of the old ways of doing things. And you're going to focus on the next 20%. That's what is going to be essential to create a life of freedom. I want you to make your goals so big that in the beginning you believe it is impossible. And then you're thinking to yourself, God, I would really like to do it. I kind of am getting emotionally involved in this idea. Then you go back to what I taught you about wants. You said, hold on a second. I can do this because my wants come from the essence of who I am. My job is to accept it and to build a connection with it. So now I'm thinking about how can I make the impossible possible? Now you're thinking from a whole different person. You're thinking from a whole different program. See, most people are creating incremental improvements. Incremental improvements, 1xing, 2xing, 3xing your goal, provides so many paths from your current results. The 80% rule is you let go of the 80% and you start thinking, what is the next 20% of how I would do something, how I would think? How can I grow? What books would I read? What mentors would I have? What actions would I take? 10xing your goal There's only a limited number of strategies that work. So your mind will say, nope, that's from the old you. That's the old image. That won't work. This is the new you. Everything right now, stop making decisions from the old you. You have to make it from the person you want to be, from that future self that we discussed yesterday. Now, when you make the goal impossible, you stop working from your old program. You stop working from your present program. You stop working from the old assumptions. What happens is you will be open to new ideas, and your mind is going to pass these great ideas to getting to your big goal. And you're going to be like, oh my God, where did that come from? It came from out of the blue. I love when people tell me it's from out of the blue. It's not out of the blue. You did the repetition. You went after something big, and now your mind is working with you because you got emotionally involved in it. See, I told you this yesterday. You want to ask really great questions. If you want to grow your business by 10 times, your income by 10 times, your relationships by 10 times, how would you do it? The answer to this question eliminates a lot of path, and it only focuses on a few strategies. So understand, letting go of the old is a great thing. You are cleansing yourself of not doing the same thing over and over again. That's insanity. But you're working from a new image, a new standard, and you're going to create the results you want. The goal always determines the process. The only way to make the present better is to make the future better by having a big goal. See, our present is coming from our future goal. What we do right now is defined by our future self, our future goal. That's what I want you to think about. That's why I said your mindset must be stronger than your emotions. Stop letting the outside control you. When it starts saying, oh God, see, the results aren't changing yet, say, I reject that. I don't know how long it'll take, but it is going to be worth it. It is going to be worth the price I am paying. Now, I want your goal in your mind to be as big as a billboard. Look at this slide. Look how big the word goal is. That's what I want you to see. And stop making the goal bigger than you. It's just a goal. But I want it to be big in your mind because you're the power. You're the cause. You're what's going to bring it to fruition. And how we bring the goal is we master the power of 5. What is the power of 5? Every decision I make, this is so vitally important that I want you to focus right now, lock in with me. Every decision you make comes from the person who would have already achieved the goal. Every discipline you have, you accept and reject from the person who would have achieved the goal. What are the few disciplines compounded over time that will take you to your goal? Every discipline. Every standard is built from this goal. You say, no, this is a person of this that would achieve this, will operate. This is their standard. This is my standard. And you operate from that standard. And you build your image. You think, feel, and act from the goal already achieved. What would you think of right now if your goal was already achieved? How would you feel? Would you be inspired? Would you be grateful? How would you feel? And you feel that way right now. And then you take action. Nothing is going to change your image and get you to your goal quicker than action. And then attitude. Attitude is our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions combined that create your results. Your results, my results, everything is attitude. Master the power of 5. It'll change your world. Now, is it going to be one day I'm going to do this or day one? Make every day day one. You get to decide. Decide today is the day you're going to break free. Today is your turning point. Today is when you're going to take yourself serious and go create a world-class life for yourself. Now, remind yourself, there's 3 types of goals. There's an average goal, there's a good goal, and there's the world-class goal. Whatever your heart desires, that your 10x self is up here waiting for you. It is waiting for you to name it and claim it. You go accept it. Your imagination takes you there. There is a place. And it causes you to stretch. If it didn't cause you to stretch, it's not worthy of you. Set goals that are worthy of you. What would I love to do? How would I love to live? Now, I'm going to simplify. The goal achievement process is what I'm interested in. You fuse with it, you become one with it. How do I become one with it? I think, feel, and act like the person. I mentally rehearse seeing myself experiencing what I'd experience already achieving that goal. I fuse with it. I'm one with it. Number two, what did we talk about yesterday? Identity. The last part of yesterday was all about identity. We create identity-based behaviors from the goal. We match our image of thinking and feeling and acting from the goal. What is a great identity-based behavior? Discipline. What's another one? Service. What's another one? Stretching out of your comfort zone. What's another one? Action. These are identity-based behaviors where you get it inside of you. And number three, you're process-driven. You act on 3 to 6 goal-achieving activities, and you write them out the night before. You focus on these 3, it's a done deal. It is a done deal. This is the most important one because we can't outperform our identity. We cannot outperform that image. And once you do it, you're going to win. And make your hours epic. Focus on creating 30, 60, 90-minute sprints throughout your day. 30, 60, 90-minute sprints. Don't get distracted. You are going to have such a competitive advantage because the whole world is distracted. You become focused. Focus on your power of 5. Focus on your 3 to 6 goal achieving activities and focus on quality over quantity. Less is more. 5 great hours a day is going to create a massive quantum leap. Now, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your processes and thinking. I want you to master this. Your processes, measure everything against your processes, not against the outside. And if you're sitting there right now saying, well, what are my processes? I don't know what yours are. I know what I teach people to do when I mentor them. Come, let me mentor you and I'll create kick-ass processes because your processes are what's creating the results. The more disciplines you have, the more confident you become. The results come from practicing your processes consistently over time. And your processes are not in your comfort zone. They're there to stretch you. You want to have really great processes to make you better. Now, I'm going to show you this from a different angle. Your goal, you want to enter in the spirit of it. Entering in the spirit of it is you're in love with it. That's what an ideal is. An ideal is an idea you're in love with. And like Einstein says, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. Now, take a look at this. All these lines represents frequency. A frequency is a level of vibration. What is an intention? Intention is frequency of thought. So if you start looking at this, each frequency, there's millions and millions. It's infinite number of frequencies, and they're all connected to the one above and the one below. Understand this. Your goal is already done. Creation is already finished. It is a done deal. Your goal is here. So it's not out there. It is here. You're experiencing it in your mind through practicing mentally rehearsing with visualization. Now, I love this quote by Hill. He says, there's a difference between wishing for a thing and being ready to receive it. No one is ready for a thing until he believes he can acquire it. The state of mind must be belief, not mere hope or wish. Open-minded is essential for belief. So I'm talking to all of you. Are you ready to receive what you want? I want to ask you this. Are you ready to receive it? Now, you'll know you're ready to receive it because you're doing the work. You have your processes locked in. You know exactly what your 3 to 6 goal achieving activities. You're doing the repetition. You're investing in your thinking. You're investing in yourself. Somebody who's not ready to receive it, they don't feel worthy of it because they're playing an old story. They're sending double binding messages. They're making excuses. They're saying, I'm going to do this when this happens. That's somebody who's not ready to receive it. Believe you can do it when you accept the idea. Make that decision. Now, this is where you are, and you can take an honest look at where you are in your life right now, and you'll see how you got there. You will see how you got there. And your goal is on a much higher frequency. Now, what we've got to do is get you on the frequency of your goal. Well, how do we do that? The moment we talked about fusing with your goal, the moment your belief matches with any state, you fuse with it. The moment you say, you name it and claim it, you say, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning $1 million or more every year, and it keeps getting better and better. Right away, your imagination takes you there. But what happens is you come back down within a couple seconds. We've got to make that your new home. How do we make it your new home? You auto-suggest it. You imagine it. You surround yourself with mastermind groups. You get in the right environment. And once you're fused with it, where you experience it in your mind, where it would be harder not to experience that way of thinking, that way of feeling, and that way of acting, then you'll know that you fuse with it. But when you fuse with it, this union results in the activation and projection of its plots, plans, conditions, and circumstances. Now think about this. When you build that desire, the whole universe conspires on your behalf to make it a reality. Whatever you plant grows. You're planting it inside yourself. It influences your conscious thinking, and it controls the vibration you're in and dictates what you attract. That's why the first step, fusing with it, is essential. This new state of conscious awareness now will be your home. You're going to see the world from a completely different camera lens. Everything your mind is going to bring your attention to is what's in harmony of the goal. And that's how you're going to create it. It's your workshop. And if you're observant, you will see your outer reality shaping itself upon the model of your imagination. Now, Jobs says it the best. I love this quote. I think about it all the time. He says, you cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in the future. And they always do. They always do. And I will tell you this. You've got to look and understand this. When you move on to, let me get back to this. When you move on to a higher frequency of thought, you're going to be communicating with a world so foreign to your old program. Your five senses are not going to know what's hitting. That's when we've got to the cause of where we're going, which is our higher faculties. Now, remember, your imagination is so important to develop. You're using it all day long anyway, based on what you're accepting and rejecting, either consciously or unconsciously. Accept it consciously and build this beautiful idea of what you want. But remember this, even though you can look backwards to get to where you want to go, to move to a considerably higher frequency of thought, you must first make that decision. You have to accept that idea. And you've got to adjust to that uncomfortableness that's going to happen. Like your old program is going to want to hold on so tightly because it does not like getting out of the comfort zone. But that's what is essential. That's the price you have to pay. At the suggestion of the move, your existing paradigm will instantly put up a royal battle. And it will continue to fight you. You have to continue. That's why I said, when you mix want with discipline, you take conscious control over the paradigm, you remove and you replace it, and then your result is big money. You get that million. You get it. But it is imperative to make a definite decision. I am doing this no matter what. This is where I'm going. Nothing happens until you make a decision and move. Nothing will happen. Now, we talked about this before. This is where you are and this is where you want to go. Your paradigm, we knock it down with a decision. Do not make decisions from where you are. Make it from the goal and you'll set yourself free. You will absolutely set yourself free. But you've got to understand, when you have fear, what triggers your fear? It's always doubt. It's always doubt. So tell yourself, when you're fearing, fear is not the cause, it's the effect. So what is the cause? The cause is doubt. What causes doubt? Old conditioning. Say, oh, that's just my old conditioning. I haven't changed yet. And the voice will disappear and that wall will break down. That wall will break down when you make a definite decision and you say, this is what I'm doing no matter what. I am creating a life of freedom. I am turning my income from $100,000 a year to $100,000 a month. And then you're going to reject all ideas that come from the old conditioning, and you're going to think, feel, and act from the place you want to go. And that's how you're going to get to the goal. Now, decisions, my mentor told me, I said, what is the best, most influential thing that you learned? I remember asking him, he said, the most important lesson I learned on this philosophy is decision making. He said, without decision, nothing changes. Decisions, this is a quote from Napoleon Hill. He says, decisions or the lack of them are responsible for making or breaking everything you desire in your life. People who have become very proficient at making decisions without being influenced by the opinion of others are the same people whose annual incomes fall in the top income category. So if you want to be in the top income category, if you want to create a world-class life, you have to be great at making decisions without being influenced by the opinion of others, by trusting yourself. You always know the truth because the truth resonates with the essence of who you are. Now, I do these events because I want to help you. And there's only so much I can do in 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. One idea changed my life, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to come let me work deeply with you and change your life and create a massive life of freedom. Mentorship is the deal. Mentorship is going to take you from where you are to where you want to go. Get a great mentor. What mentors are, their coaches are there to push you beyond your limits to achieve greatness. Like right now, I can give you so much in 2 days, but there's so much more when I work with you in one of our elite mentorship programs. And you want to really get involved in this if you want to make 2024 the best year of your life. But what I knew that if I needed to improve, if I was going to change my life, I knew I needed somebody who already won. You know, you've got to find somebody that has already demonstrated the results that you want to demonstrate and do exactly what they tell you to do. And that's why getting a great mentor is essential. A good mentor will save you pain and a lot of time. A great mentor will eliminate pain and show you exactly what to do and how to do it. Demand a great mentor. Get a great mentor for yourself. Come work with one of my coaches. They will put you in one of our mentorship programs. Now, we have very specified mentorship programs where you want real one-on-one time with me. We have group programs, but we're going to put you in the right program. And that's what, set yourself up for 2024. Get a great mentor. Now, I love this quote by Robin Sharma. He says, in order to double your income and your impact, you have to triple your investment in time spent on your personal mastery and professional development. Invest in yourself. It is going to be the best thing you ever do for yourself. Now, look at this. We talked about this. Your want is in your subconscious mind. Mix it with discipline. Right now, you're sitting back saying, you know, I really want to do this. I wonder if I should do it. Go act on the idea. Be congruent with your want. If you are incongruent with your want, you are sending out a double binding message. Accept the idea and say, I'm going to go work with Voss. I'm going to do exactly what Arash tells me to do. I'm going to listen to their coaches, and I'm going to create a masterful 2024. I am designing my life right now. I am remembering today because today is going to be my turning point. And then you're going to turn it into a desire, and we're going to work together, and we're going to get you to win and create massive results. That's what's going to get you to that's going to get you to change your results right there. But remember this. I love this quote by Mark Zuckerberg. And then I'm going to hand it over to my good friend, Monica DeMarin. The biggest risk is not taking any risk. In a world that is changing really rapidly, the only strategy that is guaranteed to fail is not taking risks. Don't play it safe. Go after what you really want. Go create, unleash freedom in your life. Create such an amazing understanding of your mind. Get in the right environment and go create the best 2024 ever. All right, Mon, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
Okay, Arash, that was absolutely incredible. And I have to really mention, I'm so grateful and so blessed that I get to speak to so many of you who have reached out during our sessions here in the last 2 days, and people who have previously booked calls with us. I absolutely love speaking and connecting to all of you guys. I do want to go into a much deeper story of what mentorship has personally done for me. Well, the first thing, mentorship has completely changed my life and my results. I've never been so fulfilled, so happy, so peaceful, peaceful feeling inside. It's so hard to put into exact words what it has done for me, but I finally feel really free. I know the goal achievement process, and it has changed my life like night and day. working with Arash, he was able to draw something out of me that I could not draw out on my own. He helped me identify where I was settling, my blind spots. He was able to help me shift my behaviors into new winning proven behaviors and processes. So this is not just something that we do once in a while. We're going to have to constantly understand who we are through awareness. But when we talk about focusing and fusing with our goal, years ago, and you may be one of these people where you stop and you start, you stop and then you start over and over again. That was me many years ago, but he was able to show me how to become accountable, how to become consistent, so I never drifted again. I'm able to catch that and come right back on path. So how many of you guys are listening have started and stopped, started and stopped? You have to understand we have to break that cycle. If not, it's going to be the same pattern over and over again. And it's funny, like you may be sitting there listening and watching Arash or watching myself and Mikey. I used to watch him and observe him. I still do this to this day, but I would think to myself, gosh, he makes it all look so easy. And it's not that it was easy for him. He had the proper structures in place. He had the right disciplines. He had the right mentorship, and he kept putting himself into environments that was going to get him really out of his comfort zone. So he wasn't all over the place. He eliminated any sort of chaos and confusion, and he had organized. He had order in his mind. He was surrendering to the mentor's training and their processes. So as Arash said today, just because you wrote your goal down doesn't mean you're going to achieve it. You have to understand the depth of the goal achievement process. And when you have the right mentorship in place, it speeds up your results. I can assure you. I see it with our clients all the time. The moment that they make a decision and invest in one of our programs, they take off. Now, the first thing we're going to ask you is, what are your results right now? What are you experiencing right now? And the second part to that, we're going to go deep into, what are your goals? What is it that you want to accomplish? From there, we're going to set out an exact roadmap of the goal achievement process for you, specifically for you, where we take you by the hand and we show you exactly what to do and how to do it. So what Arash does, he has given everyone in the last 2 days, is so incredible, and he's such a master at this, but it's such a small snippet from working with us for an extended period of time, like 6 months. Like, imagine working with Arash for the next 6 months. Really imagine this. Really take the time, use your imagination. Imagine working with Arash for the next 6 months, where we were guiding you, supporting you. What would your life look like 6 months from now? What visions are coming across the screen of your mind? The mere fact that you can imagine and you see this means you have the talent and ability inside of you to create it. You need someone to draw that out of you, and you got to surrender to that. So any of our programs, he really takes you deep and takes his time to make sure you're implementing exactly each lesson on what we're giving you, on what to do and how to do it. So ask yourself, you may have been part of our events, but have not taken action towards your goals. Or maybe you're hesitating booking a call for whatever reason you're telling yourself. Well, I'll tell you this, one of the biggest feedbacks that we get from anyone who has gotten on a call with one of our coaches, I can guarantee you they will say they had such an amazing experience because we coach you, we help you, we give you direction and structure. And yes, we are going to offer you something to help you speed up the process of with our programs, but whether you can invest with us right away immediately or make it part of your goal, we can show you how to map that out for you. So once you make that decision, and Arash went deep into decision making, you will attract everything you need to accomplish it. And if you're questioning if it's the right timing, I hear this from time to time, oh, maybe it's not the right timing, maybe I'll do it in the spring or after Christmas. Arash said yesterday, I don't know if he said on this platform or on a different call with him, he said, your goal has no idea it was Christmas or it's the new year. Your goal has no idea. Your subconscious mind has no idea as well. So we get the opportunity to really move that into form at whatever speed we want. So anyone who invests in one of our programs, we are going to give you a bonus offer. And the reason why we want to reward people who are taking action. And when you invest with one of our programs, we're going to offer you 4 live calls with Arash. This is absolutely going to accelerate your results. we're going to reward people who are taking action because that's what's required to you to achieve your goal. And if you want to jump to another level instantly, don't hesitate on this opportunity. It's very exclusive. It's not something that we ever have done before. It's not in one of our programs. The combination of the live call plus live coaching with Arash, you do not want to miss this opportunity. And you will be given things that you were going to be given with us, you cannot find on the internet or in a book. We tailor a design program for you. Plus, we give you world-class service and connection that you're not able to feel that through a book or through the internet. So for today's assignment, it's all going to be about action. Remember, a quantum leap is a lot of small compounded action in a short period of time. That's what 6 months with us will do for you. We're going to give you what action steps you need to take for a full 6 months. That's going to quantify your results. So really bet on yourself and the ability for you to make decisions and take massive action and really get excited for the next jump. So for today's assignment, what we're going to do, the step 1, we want you to make a list of 3 decisions that you need to make to move you closer to your goal. And we want you to act on those 3 decisions, the action steps, immediately. Once you decide on your top 3 decisions, it's showtime, okay? You move right into action. You officially sign this spiritual contract with yourself and your goal, and you don't alter it until you see it right to the end. You keep taking action. The second step is to listen to the 7-Figure Standard podcast on attitude. And the third step is to share and tag us. We want to know your biggest takeaways. What are your top 3 decisions that you're going to make? Make sure you tag myself, Arash, and Mikey so we can cheer you on. So make sure you're not just coming to these events, the first event for 2024, just for motivation. Okay, we want to get you to apply this and take action immediately. You must be willing to take those risks if you want to live that extraordinary life. So I'm so thankful for all of you guys joining us. I'm really looking forward to speaking to you and seeing your top 3 decisions that you're going to make. Mikey, I'm going to hand it right over to you.
All right. Thanks so much, Monica. And I'm going to bring us in for a landing here. So what an incredible day 2. I am so excited about our Excellence Accelerator that Monica just went over. One of the things that I love about this bonus is that it is completely exclusive. This is not a program you can buy. We don't sell it. The only way you can get the Excellence Accelerator is by taking action, and this is a reward for those that take action. Now, I also have something special for you all. When you book your appointment with one of our coaches, we are going to send you a 21-page workbook that goes right along with this event that we've had yesterday and today. So it takes the concepts a little bit deeper, asks you questions that get you to think just a little bit more. And so whenever you reach out to Nicole or Monica and book your appointment, they are going to send you a 21-page workbook that goes right along with our event. And I hope that you love it. It's something in addition to the homework assignments that Monica has given you yesterday and today. And again, the bonus is available only through the replay period. So the replay from yesterday and today is going to be available through next Friday at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. That's a full 7 days. At that time, that replay is going to come down, and that is when the bonus ends as well. So if you want to jump in and get mentorship with the best coach in the world, Arash Vasugi, then we are going to reward you with our Excellence Accelerator. When you book your appointment, we're going to send you a 21-page workbook to help you get the results you're looking for. So take action right away, and we'll see you in the next couple of days. We've got some surprises and bonuses that we will pop back on here for. But in the meantime, thank you all so much. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from Freedom Unleashed, and we'll see you in the next coming days. Thanks, everyone.